Hello. Welcome to the Joe Files. I am joined here by Rongotmunchies.
What's poppin'?
So, who is Joe?
When is Joe?
Why is Joe?
And cuál es Joe?
KSS Joe.
And dónde está Joe?
Where is Joe? Has anyone actually found Joe before?
See, we got a comment from Small Dick Enterprise.
Yeah.
That they've quote-unquote seen this Joe. But, of course, it might have been a coworker.
Okay, but... So, we still don't know who Joe is?
How powerful he is?
How... just Joey he is, in general.
Nobody seems to know who he is.
Well, today we're going to try to find out. According to our case file number 535, Joe has been cited in numerous spots, including... Here, let me just open the files real quick. Joe has been cited in Washington, D.C., under the name of Biden. He has also been cited in numerous places around the world, including standard schools, just pretty much everywhere. Joe is very elusive, and we still don't know who Joe is. But we assume that it is a public figure of some sort, or it's an alien using skin suits to hide himself. Would that be an accurate assessment?
I think so. Joe has many faces, many names. We call him Joe Mama for a short while.
Mm-hmm.
But, see, the thing is, he's an anomaly because, of course, when someone says Joe Mama, then they say, what's next? Well, what is next?
That's a good question. And we never get an actual answer to who Joe is. It's always Joe Mama, but how are we... We just got news in the studio room that Joe is an American singer/songwriter.
Although, this could be one of his many forms.
Of course.
We see Joe Bonamassa, Joe Jackson, and others.
Regardless of who the elusive Joe is, there's a question that a lot of us are asking that we haven't actually heard anyone say. How much is a Joe? How much is a Joe worth? How much does a Joe weigh? Have you gotten any information on that?
I actually have not. We've tried a lot of new things. Of course, we've hunted down Joes. A lot of regular Joes.
Yeah.
They even call a coffee Joe, apparently, which is weird. So, if it's even human is also another question, because they call coffee Joe and all that stuff a cup of Joe. So, he's been here basically before time, maybe even to the point where he may have seen Mason and Mason Lie's battle.
That's a preposterous assumption. There have been no reportings of that. How are you so sure?
Well, you see, Joe's elusive. He's been on the minds of people ever since time, apparently. And even God was like, bruh, who's Joe? And then, of course, nobody answered.
Well, us here at the studio can say that is a certified bruh moment.
It is. It truly is.
So, let me ask, how long have you been in this field researching the Joe anomaly?
Ever since I came out the womb. Because as a doctor was coming out, I came out and asked, who's Joe? And of course, the doctors were terrified and dropped me in my head.
Yeah.
And they say I'm delusional, but come on.
Yeah.
Everybody drops them.
I mean, I think it's pretty impressive that you were speaking, as soon as you came out of the womb. That's absurd. And did the doctors answer, or did they just get quiet?
They looked at me in shock, and they ran out the door. Even my mother gasped and said, "Who is Joe?"
So you brought up a very serious question that we had not considered before. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we have a report here from an anonymous source that says Joe has been sighted in the Pacific Ocean next to Cuba. Would this be accurate? Have you heard of this Pacific Ocean Joe sighting in Cuba, North Cuba?
I have not. This is amazing report and news. The Pacific Ocean next to Cuba. Oh my God, that's.
Well, they moved it because they didn't like the Atlantic Ocean. They thought it'd be better in the Pacific Ocean. I mean, that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Atlantic Ocean? Who cares about that?
Yeah, it's so tiny.
It's so tiny.
But I mean, size doesn't always matter.
It does not matter.
How big is Joe?
That is true. See.
How big is Joe? How large is he? How much does he weigh?
We've estimated that Joe may be more than 6 feet tall. And crazy enough as it sounds, we all know the Bigfoot.
Yes.
But what if you were to say, that's been Joe. He's been out of home, has no job because he looks hairy. So without the job, he has no money to shave himself. And of course, nature can't provide most shavers. So he's just been this hairy man walking around.
Mm-hmm.
People terrified of him, making jokes, wanting to look famous. But
of course.
It's been Joe all along. Just really hairy.
That sounds logical, because that would explain the disappearance of Joe in 1935 after the first sighting.
It's true.
But why are the photographs so blurry of Joe Bigfoot?
You see, Joe's been delusional. He's been all alone. He's been this hairy man that no person has quote-unquote truly seen or we have even evidence of.
Of course.
So, of course, him being delusional, he'd act like a wild animal. He'd run away from humans.
Yeah, of course. But why is Joe? Why is this anomaly's named Joe? Is there a reason for this naming?
I guess just like how other things got their name, it just came up. It got catchy, like M&M's.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Well, some say it's M&M's and M&M's. That's the acronym. Yeah. Well, we have a question from one of our live viewers that's definitely live. KSS Joe.
KSS Joe. No, I'm blowing less.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
It is. It truly is unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's a disease I was born with.
Oh, okay. Yeah, after you got dropped on your head?
Yeah.
Okay. How much did you weigh as a baby?
Like a Joe ounce.
How much is a Joe ounce?
About like 5 pounds.
Wow. You were a thick baby.
I was a thick baby.
Well, we have another comment here that is thanking Joe for the kind gold. So, is the kind stranger actually Joe?
You know, we've been thinking about that a lot.
Yeah.
Because even though Joe is a wild animal, just like us, we were once wild animals. We were primitive. We were little Cro-Mags, and we've grown. So why couldn't Joe have grown? Or maybe someone threw out their cell phone.
Yeah.
Or lost it, and Joe found it. He gained technology,
mm-hmm.
and he's now the kind stranger that may be giving you gold Reddit.
But that raises the question. Who's giving out the Reddit Platinum and the Reddit Silver? Is it Joe or some other elusive being?
It might just be Joe. It might just be an elusive being. We don't have much evidence yet.
We have a theory coming in from a viewer that suggests that Joe is actually just a philosophical idea. How would you feel about this?
It may just be. But then what about the paintings the cavemen drawn? You may say us humans may have done it. But why would we do it? We're out too busy banging each other, trying to live on Earth. We're primitive animals. Joe, however, he was an intellectual being.
Mm-hmm.
Quote unquote, may have seen the Mason-Live War.
Yes.
You never know what he's gained, his power of. And of course, we're idiotic animals. And
yes.
I mean, fire. How could that have been invented? How would it give it to us?
Exactly.
Joe may have himself given to us fire to us to survive. Joe may just be our hero from Masongeek.
So you are suggesting that Joe not only is Joe Mama Joe, but he is also a multi-dimensional God?
No. Imagine God and Jesus.
Yes.
It's something like that, where God gave us Jesus. Now Masongeek is giving us Joe, our protector. Joe is on our world to protect us from our sins.
Of course.
To protect us from Mason lies.
Okay, got it. But so are you suggesting that we are in the Joe timeline?
We may just be. We'll have to find out.
Now time for a small ad break. Do you like bros? Do you like Joe? Well, get your mamas today.
May cause cancer.
Okay, we are back. Today on the Joe Files, we are interviewing Detective Rongotmunchies.
Hi there.
And so recently we have discussed the idea that we are actually in the Joe timeline. Now, this. Do you have any more evidence to back that up?
Well, as you've seen, there's been 3 timelines so far.
Yes.
You just may be in the Joe timeline.
Okay. So, are you suggesting there's a 4th split after the Lesser Schism?
There was always 3 timelines, but Joe is somehow in all 3. See,
but that raises the question: who is Joe?
Exactly. We need to find out, and he may even be the one who saved us from the greatest sin of all, Jackson. For you see, he has died in 2 timelines.
Yes.
So far. But our world, our timeline, has split, which is why there's 3 now.
Yes.
And so Joe is now entered our world, our timeline, to come track down Jackson.
So are you suggesting that a Joe and Jackson battle occurred that caused the Lesser Schism?
It may be, but who knows? Of course, the greater gods like Masongeek and Mason Lies were truly the ones who started this all.
Yes, of course. Okay. Well, it seems today,
like all you see,
is violence in movies.
And sex on TV.
But where is Joe?
And those good old Joe times.
I wish we used to Joe.
Luckily, there's our Savior and Lord, Joe.
Praise Joe.
Do it.
Do it now. And now a word from our sponsor. Welcome back. We seem to have a little interference.
Yeah, it was awkward. I don't know. The recording seems to have stopped.
Yeah, it seems that we have a caller on the line. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Come again?
Sir, I've been on this investigation for my whole life. I don't understand.
I don't know what that was.
I don't know either. It's terrifying. I'm shitting and coming right now.
Pissing. Now, we do these interviews in public places.
That's true. It's to be more safe.
Yeah. But that was terrifying.
That was truly terrifying.
I mean, could that be Joe?
No, he wouldn't come after us at a public place. This is Joe. He doesn't want to be found out.
But that's the thing. Is Joe even real?
He must be. Stopped the Jacksons from the other timelines. Who gave us fire? Who is this elusive Bigfoot? And why is everyone asking, who is Joe?
This is a lot to take in. It truly is.
It's not just a singular person, it's a group of people who ask, who is Joe?
The common answer is Joe Mama, but is there a longer version of that joke?
Well, there's been parts where it isn't even complete, where people just ask or say, have you seen Joe? Because they want to find out the truth.
Yeah.
And of course, no one can really give out a true long answer.
Of course.
Which is why we believe that every person who dares to answer that question, asking, who is Joe? Well, the other person is brainwashed and forced to say, Joe Mama, to hide his evidence.
So, do you think that you are one of the unique few that can withstand Joe's, let's just call it, influence?
I believe so. I've been on this investigation for years, and not once has it ever been that moment where I've been brainwashed to say Joe Mama. I may have said it for a joke, but never, ever have said it unconsciously.
But why? How has it become a joke?
Well, people take it for a joke, but what they don't know is the other person is hurt and damaged and internally brainwashed forever.
Psychologically speaking, could you consider making Joe Mama a joke, sort of as a defensive reflex against the truth?
We don't know yet. We basically have researchers on our lab right now trying to figure that out. Luckily, we've had some subjects to stand up to it and see if they can withstand Joe's power.
So, would you call this supposed Joe tolerance?
Yes, we would.
So, if they ask, what's Joe tolerance? Then you say Joe tolerance Mama, or what do you say to that?
Well, the simple fact is you wouldn't answer, or you give out an explanation. If you do say Joe Mama Tolerance, well then, they're not safe and they're brainwashed.
Okay. Well, looks like we have another sponsor coming in, so stay tuned for more of the Joe Files.
Do you like cock and ball torture? Of course you do. Don't lie. We all love it. Come now to get your cock and ball torture gear. We have many things, as in the ring, stops you from coming, the whip, hit that tip, and now finally, the balls and cocks. Stick it inside your cock.
Call 1-800-COCK-AND-BALL for all your torture needs.
We are back with the Joe Files.
Yes.
I'm sorry about that, sponsor. That was a little not safe for work.
You should have disclaimed that, but it's the Joe Files. You're here to see the truth.
Of course, yeah. So we have a report coming in from Vice President Joe Biden.
Huh.
It seems convoluted. It seems to say something backwards. Would you like to hear it?
Sure.
Hold on. It takes a second. I gotta make my brain process it. Do you have any idea what that means? Do you have any translators that can...
I'll try that right now. I'll just run through this little test, and we'll get back on that.
Okay. So, I'm gonna go pee.
Here's Heather. Mason has left us, but I'll be here to inform you about our Joe. Joe. Who is he? What is he? Where, why, and how? These are the questions that we get. And here are your answers. Joe. Born after Mason's battle. May have been a prophet. May have been his son. Who knows? He was born before Earth, before even humans. So, luckily, Mason gave this our chance, our savior, Joe, to protect us. Now, what was he trying to protect us from? Well, of course, it may just be Mason lies. But of course, Mason Facts could handle that. Right? Well, concluding to our research, Mason Facts may have not been able to do it. He just may have been the same power. But not enough. Not until now, where our Mason is much more powerful. I see our person has come back.
And now a word from our sponsors. Do you ever feel like... Bruh. Well, I got the remedy for you. Sometimes we all have a bro moment. Sometimes these bro moments are level 3 bro moments. But if you ever feel like you're having a bro moment, always remember, bruh, 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 bruh. We gotta get some better sponsors.
We have to get better sponsors.
This is.
So, while you were gone, I was answering some of the questions.
Yeah, of course.
So, speaking of Joe, how strong is he?
That's a good question.
That's one of the good questions that we had, and we just don't know. Because it seems from years he's been here, and in years he's been from different places.
Of course.
North America, South America, Africa, Europe,
Cuba.
Asia, Cuba, yeah.
In the Pacific Ocean.
Sometimes even in the Atlantic.
Really? I would think that a literal almost god would have higher standards than the stupid Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. That would be the best hiding spot for him. For he...
Oh, because no one likes the Atlantic Ocean.
Exactly.
Oh.
And we may even have a theory that this lost city of Atlantis may have been Joe's fault. For they tried to prosecute Joe, but Joe didn't allow it. And so he sank the people for their sins.
So what you're saying is Joe killed so many mamas. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. Jackson was the ruler of the Atlantis.
Of course. How could I forget?
So that there may be proof on why he has such a grudge for the Jacksons.
Of course.
And why he's trying to stop them and protect us from the
Okay.
Jackson's effect.
Of course.
Losing 3 chromosomes just isn't fun.
So, how many chromosomes does Joe have?
You see, he's such an intellectual. He is no longer human.
Okay.
For we have 23 chromosomes,
Of course.
but he has 69 chromosomes. Maybe even more.
Well, for that, I have to say something.
Yes.
Nice.
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 Was there anything that you wanted to say about Joe?
Well, from what I've heard here today, we have another sponsor. Lois. Lois, I have erectile dysfunction. Is this you? Have you ever said to your wife, I have erectile dysfunction? Well, luckily, we have the thing for you. A shotgun to the head.
So if you need to kill the thing inside you and your penis no longer works, you need to pull the trigger, hit your head, and
Kill yourself.
Welcome back.
The Joe Files continues. Well, I don't know. Anyway, what I was saying about Joe is that it's such a hard thing to consider
Yes.
that Joe could be, just almost a literal god, almost enough to compete against Mason.
Maybe. We don't know yet.
That's horrifying.
It is truly a horrifying thought.
But that raises my last question. When is Joe?
Yes.
When is he? When will he destroy everything or recreate everything in his light? When will we know for certain if Joe is either Mama, Bigfoot, a philosophical ideology, or just a regular guy? When will we learn that for sure?
Well, like I said, we just don't quite know yet.